Ford Explorer, America's best-selling SUV for over 20 straight years. When it was first introduced in 1991, it was a game changer. It offered the civility of on-road sedans with the capability of off-road full-size trucks. But for 2011, Ford has come to market with a brand new SUV. Let me introduce to you the brand new 2011 Ford Explorer. This is the all-new 2011 Ford Explorer, completely redesigned from the ground up for this year, and Ford engineers went all out on the design. You may notice the corporate 3-bar grille that's incorporated on all the new Ford vehicles, the clamshell hood, the bold fender flares, the raked windshield with the blacked out A-pillars. Now, the first thing you're thinking for them is how capable is it off-road? Well, Ford engineers took that into consideration when they designed this vehicle. This model is a 2-wheel drive. However, it has a higher ground clearance than the current 4th generation, the 010 model year. It has a slightly less powerful engine, but Ford considered that this is a 3.5-liter V6, and it is putting out 290 horsepower. The current V8 offered in the Explorer puts out 292 horsepower. This offers 250 pound-feet of torque, and trust me, Ford, I've driven this truck. It has some get up and go. I also have a 97 V8 all-wheel drive. This truck is quicker, and it weighs more. This truck weighs in at over 6,000 pounds. It's heavy, but it gets up and goes. The next thing you may notice is the wraparound headlights, the lower valiance with the integrated fog lights. This truck was designed to be stylish, but it was also designed to be effective. Coming around to the backside of the new Ford Explorer, again, wraparound taillights with integrated LEDs. One thing that is missing this year is a separate opening liftgate, but that has been replaced by, I think, a much more useful feature. Automatic opening rear liftgate. Now, the 2011 Ford Explorer does have a 3rd-row seat, which is available in both manual and power-fold technology. Power-fold, of course, being introduced on the Ford Expedition several years ago. Now, say you're in a parking garage and you don't want the liftgate to go too high since it is power. That's no problem. Simply readjust it to where you want it, hold the release button on the bottom side here, and now the liftgate will no longer go above this opening. The lower valiance continues around on the back side, and this also has an integrated rear view camera with integrated backup sensors. Now, Ford Explorer for 2011 is available with Ford's Active Park Assist. If you've ever parallel parked anywhere, you know how difficult this can be. Ford's Active Park Assist technology actually enables the vehicle to park itself, with you modulating only the brakes and the accelerator. The innovative design features of the new 2011 Explorer don't stop on the outside. Follow me inside. Again, Ford has completely redesigned the interior of this vehicle, starting with the wraparound dash that flows into the dash panels. The very first thing I noticed about this vehicle was the high shoulder line. If you don't have the seats adjusted just right, elbow resting can be a little difficult unless you get used to it. Now, Ford Explorer comes to market with Ford's brand new My Ford Touch, and this has integrated Microsoft Sync along with touch controls. All buttons have been removed from the dash. You simply touch whichever area you want, and the vehicle will actually display the feature and change accordingly however you change it. So if you want the temperature up or down, you don't actually press a button. You just hold onto the plastic plate here and it changes for you. Redundant controls are also on the steering wheel for this. And Ford hasn't forgotten about the rear passengers. With the redesign of the new 2011 Explorer, the entire body is actually 6 inches longer than a 91 to 01, which is what most of the Ford members drive. step into the back, there is plenty of legroom. And for him, I'm almost 6 foot tall, and I am comfortable. The new 2011 Explorer drives much like a brand new vehicle, if you know what I mean. The very first thing you notice when you step inside this vehicle is its size. Now granted, I've been driving a 92 Explorer for well over 8 years now. And I've been driving second generation Explorers, pretty much the same thing, as size-wise, for about a year now. This thing is expansive. The dash just goes on forever, and without properly adjusting the seat, all you see is hood. You may be noticing I'm driving through a gas station. With Ford's 3.5 liter V6, it has an EPA rated highway mileage of 25 miles per gallon, which is best in class for the new 2011 Ford Explorer. And let me tell you, this thing has some serious get up and go. 3,000 RPM, 4,000 RPM, and it's going just strong. Crazy Saturn driver. Now Ford has done a really interesting job with the redundant controls on the steering wheel. Now if you look at the steering wheel, it may appear to be a PlayStation controller. However, they're for the controls for the audio system, climate control, GPS or navigation, and with your phone if it was paired with the sync system. On the left side is the, I guess you call it the information panel. These are two 4.3-inch LCD screens that tell you all sorts of vehicle information. Right now I have it over or on a tachometer. I simply go over to the left side here, and I can change whatever I'm looking at. So if I want to look at instant fuel economy, it gives me an actual little bar graph. If I want to look at all my settings for the vehicle, my driver assist, different vehicle, my auto lamp delays, my fuels, locks, menu control, all of that while I'm keeping my eyes on the road. For him, you may be asking yourself, well, it's a unibody construction now, so how does it ride? Well, it rides like a car. It rides like a very big car. But I gotta admit, the front suspension is a little stiffer than I would have imagined. It doesn't float along. It does have some active suspension and fillback. The steering and how it actually feels and rides on the road is quite good, actually. Ford has done a really good job of the steering feel. Whenever you turn in, left or right, it turns great, and you actually get awesome feedback from the road. Acceleration, like I pointed out earlier, is very top-notch. I can get up and go on it. The transmission will downshift, and it'll go into a lower gear for passing and acceleration. Although I have noticed up in the little bit higher RPM range, the motor does get kind of a little whiny and doesn't want to give its full all. But that's okay, because next year, Ford's EcoBoost 2.0 liter inline Ford motor is available, which actually will offer more power, more torque, with better fuel economy. Fuel economy estimates have not been released yet for the new EcoBoost 2.0, but Ford is saying it's 30% better than the current 4.0 liter V6, which would put it up at about an estimate 26 miles per gallon and a, let's face it, almost full-size SUV weighing 6,000 pounds. It's pretty impressive if you ask me. The other bad thing I've noticed about this brand new 2011 Explorer, which I'm not dogging it, it's just what I'm used to. I'm used to driving earlier generations, but the amount of blind spots. There are massive, and that's the word I keep using for this because it's so true. There are lots and lots of blind spots. The C-pillar is blind spot galore. If you notice earlier in the video, I was pointing out the rear hatch with the rear glass. When driving the vehicle, however, that glass is very small. You have a very small rear view area of the road behind you, which is why I guess Ford introduced the backup camera into this. But yes, the blind spots are kind of bad. You have to get used to them. The mirrors are a little bit bigger to accommodate that, and they do offer the built-in wide-angle mirror for not only for viewing and for seeing what's around you in your blind spots, but also for when hauling a trailer. Which actually brings me to another point that's a brand new feature on on the Explorer. And this feature was actually introduced on the Super Duty and the F-Series lines of pickups. But the new 2011 Ford Explorer has trailer sway control, which actually, what that does is when you're towing a trailer and it starts to sway, whether you have an oncoming vehicle pass you or a gust of wind comes up against you, the trailer will begin to want to sway. Normally you'd have to modulate the brakes yourselves and try and bring it back into control. With Ford's trailer sway control system, which is just a software, it actually helps modulate the brakes on its own to each individual wheel, and if you have trailer brakes, it applies to the trailer brakes as well to help bring that trailer back into line. And another feature that's exclusive to Ford Explorer as of right now is a technology called curve control. Now what this does is if you're taking an on-ramp or an off-ramp, and it's a big loopy-loo kind where you literally wrap around the entire on-ramp, and if you take it too fast, curve control will actually detect the yaw rate of the vehicle and bring the vehicle to a slower speed, modulate the throttle, modulate the brakes, and help you maintain and flatten out your ride to eliminate the chance for any type of rollover accident. It may be a little bit of a nanny thing, but Ford obviously thought it was necessary, and it is actually a pretty good bit of technology. Brake and acceleration are excellent. I noticed zero brake fade when coming up with repeated stops from somewhat high speeds. The feel, again, if I have to emphasize one thing about the new Explorer, is the feel. I mean, this thing just it has a little bit of a numb feeling to it, but even then, it's very unnoticeable, and it has a very good road feel. We're here at Reynolds Ford in Edmond, Oklahoma to show some of the interior features, and more specifically, the Microsoft My Ford Touch system. We're here inside the new 2011 Ford Explorer to demonstrate some of the new technology features that are finding their way into all the Ford vehicles for the 2011 model year. The system that you're viewing in front of you is called My Ford Touch. It has integrated Microsoft Sync as well as the new feature which gives My Ford Touch its name. You may notice a lack of buttons on this dash. These are actually press touch sensitive controls. Simply touch the area that you want to manipulate, whether it be the stereo, the climate control, the GPS, or the integrated phone control, and it will automatically do it for you without having to press any buttons. Ford engineers call this ergonomics because it helps free up the dash, it helps remove the clutter, and gives it a more sleek and integrated look. All the controls for My Ford Touch are also redundant onto the steering wheel as well. On the right side here, you have control over the entertainment system, which is the radio, Sirius satellite, CDs, and any iPods or any USB devices that you may have plugged into the system. You simply scroll down next to the phone, and this allows you to make and receive phone calls, all hands-free, and as well, depending on the phone model, to receive text messages read through the stereo system. You scroll down again to your navigation system, which has a compass, and also has where you can plug in for your points of interest, any street addresses, anywhere that you want to go, which is also voice activated. And you can also control your climate control system. So you can set the air conditioning, you can set the heater, the fan control speed, all without taking your eyes off the road. The left side of the steering wheel is all your vehicle settings. This changes the RP, where you can view the tachometer, the fuel gauge, your coolant temperature. Everything that you could possibly want to know about the motor at the time is on this left screen. And both of these are 4.3-inch LCD screens. You could also calculate your trips, your instant and average fuel economy, vehicle settings, and information about the vehicle. Ford also has something that's exclusive to the market called Microsoft Ford Sync. This allows you to control many of the vehicle functions through voice alone. For instance, you simply press the sync button on the steering wheel.
Please say a command.
Radio.
Radio, say a frequency or preset.
101.9.
Tuning to FM 101.9.
And it will turn to the program that you have selected through your voice. Now you can also control the system also has control over the GPS, all again through voice activated technology. Again, simply press the sync button on the steering wheel.
Please say a command.
Navigation.
Navigation. Say a command.
Destination, POI.
How would you like to search? By name or by category?
By category.
And where would you like to search? Nearby or in a city?
Nearby.
Say the POI category, or say next or previous page.
Automotive.
Say one of the POI categories.
Automobile dealership.
Say one of the POI categories.
Ford.
Say a line number.
Line 1.
When ready, press the voice button and then say set as destination.
Set as destination.
Setting new destination.
And sync will actually go through and set the destination that you have entered through your voice on the screen in the dash. As you're driving, which in this case we are not, sync will come over and give you turn-by-turn directions. It will mute the radio and mute any phone calls that you have and come over and tell you which turn to take. Ford Sync also has control over the climate control. Again, simply press the sync button on the steering wheel.
Please say a command.
Climate control.
Climate. Say a command.
Set temperature to 60.
Did you say 60 degrees?
Yes.
Setting temperature to 60 degrees.
And that was for the driver's side. If you're the passenger,
Please say a command.
climate control.
Climate. Say a command.
Passenger temperature 60 degrees.
Dual off.
Or the
Please say a command.
climate control.
Climate. Say a command.
Increase fan speed.
Increasing fan speed.
So Ford Sync really does have its, so to speak, hands in everything in the vehicle. Ford Sync is available on many Ford Lincoln Mercury models, as well as the new 2011 Ford Explorer. Well, there you go, Ford. The 2011 Ford Explorer. It has a lot of features, and it's made leaps and bounds over the current generation. Is it the right truck for you? Maybe, maybe not. But if you're in the market for a new vehicle, and you're a die-hard Explorer fan like me, you should really give it a consideration. It has 2 motors, a 6-speed transmission, 4-wheel drive with terrain management system, and countless other features that our Explorers have never even had before. Did Ford hit the mark with this? I think they did. So go to a Ford dealer today and at least test drive one. If you don't take my word for it, take yours. I'm your host, Nice 59 Ford F100, and remember, life is a journey that we all must explore. Why not do it in an Explorer?